Hi, Satyam. Welcome to this DevOps and Cloud Engineer interview.
Hello,
So,
sir.
if you can brief me a little bit about yourself, how much experience you have, what sort of roles and responsibilities you manage, which companies you have worked with, and some of the recent projects that you are working on, then we can take it from there.
All right, sir. Uh, my name is Satyam Jaiswal. I live in Bangalore. I'm basically from UP. I have studied here. I completed my education over here. Then my first company was Wipro Limited, where I worked as a junior analyst for first 1 year, and then later next 2 years I was a senior analyst. In that, I was like it was non-IT. Later on, I switched to another small company which is named AWS Technologies, where I was given the responsibilities of handling system admin, like some basic things, some managing computers and securing their computers and other people as well. Later on, I had to switch to this DevOps engineer role. So completed some tutorials and practice some projects and I have in the next few days, maybe I'll be having one interview scheduled for that. And regarding that, I'm
So
here
your overall
with my
experience, how much is overall experience you have?
overall, I would say six. I would say 3 years
Six
in
years.
Wipro, and then the
But
third one is running in this company.
and in the DevOps and cloud space?
Jobs in cloud space. It is from past 1.5 year. I'm just into this completely. I'm
Mhm.
just learning and exploring things. It's
Mhm.
been a long journey. However, in IT sector, I would say just 2 years, I guess,
Okay.
because it was earlier it was related to just security and
Okay.
some access related stuff.
Okay, let's start with some warm up discussion and see if you have. Uh, so what is DevOps as per your experience?
DevOps is a culture actually, which involves development and operations, as the name itself says. So various practices, various best practices which people and companies follow, to get their software development life cycles, which it makes it very easy compared to earlier days.
Mm-hmm.
So in a nutshell, it is just that. Like uh, development team will be there, operations team will be there. They'll be developing the solutions. Then how easily we can move to the production which involves various stages like building, testing, then deploying where to deploy, how to build, testing what and all things should be involved. So in a nutshell, just like these things are involved in DevOps practices.
And what are the key principles that one should take care? What are those good practices you mentioned?
In terms of good practices, security should be the first priority, and starting from the like committing this course to the repos till it goes to production. Various security
Mhm.
measures we can take,
Okay.
which involves like branch strategy first in the repo section itself. Branch strategy, like who and all can merge the code and the code reviews and all. Then building strategy, like uh, how we can build it and where we should build it. Jenkins, some companies prefer Jenkins, some Azure DevOps and other things. Then testing of the code, static code analysis, like checking for code vulnerabilities, smells, and bugs using SonarQube and or
Mhm.
OWASP or like other things as well. Then
Mhm.
later on we can Dockerize or containerize the application, then scan the images as well using Snake, for the security purposes, and we can post it to the either the Docker Hub for the public repository or our own private repository such as ECR or AWS based or whichever
Okay.
is company preferred.
Company preference. Okay. Awesome. That's a good warm up question. So let's see and the response. So can you give me an end-to-end CI/CD DevOps pipeline structure?
Uh, yeah, I'll try slowly, sir. So, as an DevOps engineer, or like just right from the how the developer, uh, commits the code at their specific branches. Maybe it is a feature branch or development branch. So right from it starts, and our role probably it will start from the when they commit the code, when it is reviewed and already merged, and maybe our role will start from there.
Mhm.
So what was first we'll have to start the uh, set up the pipeline, starting from where we have to fetch the code, and how we have to uh, like what are the runtimes which that code involves, if
Mhm.
it is npm based, if it is java based, or go language or other things regarding that relevant to that things like runtime should be installed on the uh, that runner, we call it in the Jenkins and other. In Azure DevOps it is just called some Microsoft hosted agents. So there it should be installed, like we have to set up the CI pipeline in that way itself. And then we have to, if the company is preparing, like we have to test, then SonarQube we can take
Mhm.
SonarQube
Which
for testing
CI/CD
it.
tool do you enjoy the most?
So far, haven't explored much about Jenkins and GitHub Actions yet.
Mhm.
However, I'm aware, little bit aware, and I have worked mostly on Azure pipeline since the company's requirement is the same itself. Azure.
Azure pipelines. Okay. And how do you secure your variables in Azure pipelines?
Uh, yes. So earlier, what like in initial stages, I have just used the pipelines variables for the. However, it was hard coded. It is not a good practice. But for the time being, I did. Later on, I moved to using Azure keywords, integrating Azure keywords there.
Mhm.
So that will be helping me to that help me to secure the variables, secrets, and certificates as well.
Okay. Awesome. Uh, can you explain me how do you manage, like if something happens in your environment, in your production environment in Azure Cloud, you get a phone call that some app is not working, which is internet facing to your customers. So how do you
Okay,
investigate?
so yes. So first, we have to find out what exactly is this, whether it is from the application side or the where it is deployed. Some network issues is there. Some gates are like some NSGs, like network security gate, which we call. Some
Mhm.
proper rules are there or not, like inbound and outbound security
What would be
rules.
your starting first few things that you will start investigating?
So it depends on the question, like what
Okay.
kind of
App is
uh,
not working, customer is not able to access the application, it's down.
they are not able to access the URL itself, or the when they are accessing it, it is not working.
Hmm.
That like what it is, they are able to access it, but it is not
They
showing
are not
any.
able to access it.
They are not able to access it though. So it may be network, especially it comes to network. If it is not this thing, so we'll have to check with the like it's the relatable IP first, where it is deployed,
Mhm.
and domain, since it is connected to the domain, whether it is properly mapped or not. And then like we have to check the routes, whether it is correct or not. And also then later on we can move to the our application structure and all. We can have a check over there where exactly is the issue and how we can fix it. So
Okay. You
like that we
check
can.
with your team's WhatsApp group or Slack channel, you check with the team. Has anybody changed the network? They said no network, there is no change.
Mhm. Yes. So later on, then we can check in the configuration of the application, like if it is deployed on the Kubernetes, I would say, or
Mhm.
maybe Azure App Services. So we'll check the network configuration first, like how where the ports and all are mapped, and
Ports, there is no change. Networks, there is no change from the networking point of view. That has already
okay.
been confirmed to your by your team, right?
hmm Okay. So we'll have to check with the like I haven't actually troubleshooted much, so
Yes. So
we'll
are
we'll
you
look
more
at
in
that.
the infra side or in the app side in your day-to-day responsibilities?
Uh, in the infra side, no, like not much in the infra side or app side, since I'm just I have just commenced this journey. So
Mhm.
it is all on my own. Like I have just explored certain projects, certain you know
Tell me the
like
most complex project that you have worked on.
it is that this three-tier structure which I have mentioned in my resume, voting
Three-tier is
application.
very basic and like everybody knows. So what is the
Yes, yes.
most complex project that you have worked on? Is that the three-tier architecture?
Yes, it involves five microservices which has a two front ends, like one for voting and one for result, and it involves
The
on Redis
voting app.
cache. Yes, yes,
Okay. Did you containerize the app yourself, or
yes.
you found a Docker file somewhere?
Containerized in the sense, for the practice, there was another app which was called YouTube Clone. It has npm packages, and
Mhm.
to have the experience in containerizing, I used that one, and then later on I used Dockerfile to containerize it. But however, for this one, I found like it was with the uh, package itself, like the code itself.
Pre-existing
So
container image that you can use.
the Docker file was there. I had to just
You had to build it.
mix two changes in the .NET packages, some,
Mhm.
and then I Dockerized it.
Okay. Still, it's quite basic, so you can't go with this kind of project in your real interviews. You
Yes, I
probably
would
need
try.
to enhance it, even if it is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
because three-tier architecture is not a project, right? It's part of a
Hmm.
project.
Yeah,
Yeah. And instead of voting application, maybe add a business application that I did this for a business app. Don't You will have to get rid of the GitHub link from your uh, the you can have GitHub link on your resume, but
hmm,
for every project you have specified GitHub for that project, so you can get rid of that and try to highlight it as a customer project for which you obviously cannot share the GitHub link.
certainly, sir. I will try.
Somebody sees that your best experience is a voting app deployment, can be taken as negative.
And also, it involves various, like in the deployment section using Helm and Kubernetes. Then I worked for the same codes on the Minikube as well earlier before switching to AKS or
Right,
deploying it to the AKS.
right. So your experience as more of an administrator, more of a cloud side of things are coming out slightly evident, because when I asked how would you resolve an incident, you have only worked on incident which are infra related, networks related.
As of now, it is the same.
Most of the time, mostly we don't change infra that much in production. If infra is being changed and you are, for example, a 10 people team, then you would be aware that somebody has changed infra yesterday night or today morning or whatever, right? In the
Mm,
stand-up, things are informed. Most of the time, these are app-related changes or something. Obviously, it's something has changed, or the number of users have grown so much that the app is not responding or something. But you
mm,
would start with looking at the app logs before you get into all the networking and all that, because logs will tell you, for example, logs will tell you that I'm not able to connect to database. So now you know that some networking connecting to the database has been impacted.
mm,
So
mhm.
you wouldn't start looking at all the networking things, because most of the time you'll find
Mind.
it is there, it is there, it is there, it is there, and then by the time you reach where the error was, it would be too late. App logs will tell you the exact, are likely to tell
Yes,
you the
yes.
exact thing. So you need to jump there. And to sound a little more professional, you can add some more things that I will notify the users. I will
Mm,
notify certain stakeholders before even you'd start troubleshooting that certain app is down and this is the situation I'm investigating. It could be a one-liner or it could be whatever the process you follow, but you can mention that. That would sound more like you have cloud operations experience and you can manage infra.
all right, sir.
All right. What sort of certifications do you have? The official certifications?
Uh, Official certification, like I am quite up prepared for that. Like I had enrolled for Microsoft Azure 104,
Mm-hmm.
then then 400 as well for the DevOps thing, but
Mm-hmm.
not fully placed preparation on the exam level. Just
Okay.
for the requirement as the for this company, because as of now my priority is just to get the job, and parallelly I can prepare for that and then later on enroll.
Sometimes having right certifications are also
Yes,
helpful,
yes, right.
especially when you are trying
Yeah.
to crack into a market where you don't have actual experience, so certifications will be helpful.
Yep,
So
certainly.
look for the right one, Azure Professional something, or uh, doc Terraform. And
Yeah,
can you explain
Terraform
me
also.
a scenario, or can you help me understand that you join a company is, or you tell them that let's start to use Terraform because you guys are doing things
Mhm.
manually. So let's start using Terraform as a best practice and build a pipeline around it. But the company tells you that no, actually, we already have 100 EC2 instances created without Terraform. So how do you handle that kind of scenario?
There is some feature in like in the Terraform itself where we can import it, like
Mhm.
using Terraform import the whatever the earlier resources which were provisioned without involving in Terraform. So
Mhm.
using that we can like we can use that feature, and from present we can start using Terraform in the company. However, it all depends on what
What
kind
does
of
import does?
Azure cloud.
What import does?
Terraform imports the resources. Like we'll have to actually it's been 2 to 3 months. I haven't gone through Terraform much
Mhm.
since it was not like related to this. However, I'm little aware about like how Terraform works. So first we have to define it, like what and all we have to import in the import,
Mhm.
like in the Terraform.
What does
Mm,
import? Import means what will happen with the import?
okay,
Will the source code be
it will have
generated
the
for it?
yes, it will be generated like the relevant resource code. Some resource code will be generated, not entirely, and it will
Mhm.
connect to the present the main code which we will be writing in the Terraform. So it
Okay.
will interconnect everything, and then it will be later on it can be versionable and we can be utilized it.
Hmm.
But it will have a track after importing.
Basically, it will import the into the state file.
Yes.
It will import that into the state file. Earlier, it was only importing into the state file. With the newer version, code also gets generated that you can.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay. Just staying on Terraform a little bit because that's something you have mentioned as well in your
Mhm.
uh, resume, and you have also done some certification with. Uh, what is the impact of changing Terraform version?
Okay, Terraform version. Okay, so when we change Terraform version depends on if there is some new features has been added, how
Mhm.
it will impact the providers
Mhm.
depending on AWS or Azure. So we'll have to look into that,
Okay.
and then accordingly we'll have to work. If certain major changes have been done in the features of Terraform, like
How do
recently
you
I had
get
changed.
this? How do you manage this risk? How do you manage this situation? You
Okay,
have
so
to
in the
upgrade.
main
You have to upgrade Terraform version. Your manager tells you that Satyam, a new version of Terraform is there. Let's start using it. So what would you do?
Okay, so before we apply, we'll have to before we apply the changes for the Terraform in the company, we'll have to look into, yes, exactly as I said, the features and all, and how it can be used. However, it shouldn't be much of a concern about the codes and all which he has written. The
Mhm.
certain things we'll have to look after, like the providers things and others. So that's it, I guess. I'm not quite sure like how it would work.
Okay, no worries. Even if something of this sort get asked, you can start with, we'll read the documentation. We'll read the official
Yes,
release notes.
yes, exactly.
That's where I'll start what new features
Mm,
it brings and how to
mm,
test it in my environment and then apply
mm.
it.
Then we can later on reapply again for the resources.
Yes. What version of Terraform have you used?
It's been 3 months or 4 months when I had used Terraform, so I'm not really sure. Can
So
you tell me the
Terraform is
latest
very
one? Because
crucial.
definitely it is not the latest one. Just give me the hint of the latest
So
one which is there.
Terraform is, I have seen like most of the companies are using it and either starting to use. So brush up a little bit on Terraform because that's crucial.
Yes,
You can
certainly.
skip maybe a little bit of Ansible if not done, uh, but some of the tools which are like not always there, but Terraform is usually show up in all the interviews.
Mm-hmm.
So just focus on
For the in Ansible, I did start my journey for the Ansible, but since it was not oriented to my, it was not aligning with the preparation to my company. So I didn't go much into that. The only thing I did was learn the YAML, the construct, like how we have to write a YAML, how we have to apply. So I did just went
Yeah.
through that, and then that's it. So
Can you can you explain me a little bit about the most complex cloud architecture or diagram or something you have designed, any solution that you have designed?
yeah, so most complex application architecture is just cloud architecture.
Anything, cloud architecture or an app architecture?
Okay. In terms of cloud architecture, the one which I'm working on is where certain Azure resources are involved and other things like
What
if we take
resources?
the example of this Azure, voting app itself, I
Mm-hmm.
have utilized virtual network, various private subnets, then application gateway, internal load balancer, ingress controller, ingresses. Then using various like using separate namespaces, I had created the deployments and services and like this secrets and all,
Mm-hmm.
and like collaborating with everything, and that is the most like complicated project I have worked on.
Hmm.
And use DNS. I had to like purchase a DNS like sample, just simple DNS name, and then mapped it to the the IP address of my application gateway for the user access. Then
Mm-hmm.
I did go through the certification like this SSL certificates as well, but I didn't apply it. So
Okay.
this is the most complicated cloud
How
architecture
does this
architecture which I.
entire work flows? You have like example.com domain that you purchased.
Mhm.
How does a user, which is your website, say for example, hosted on a Kubernetes cluster?
Mhm. So when it comes to this one, it depends on where using which DNS you want to route
Mm-hmm.
your uh, like traffics. So you
Mm-hmm.
can use Azure DNS where you can uh, map the domain, like how you want the traffic to be routed from here, and then it will be obviously a map to either subdomain or the IP itself, C
Mm-hmm.
record or E record. So it will be like the traffic will be routed from there itself, and then first it will hit the domain. After that, when it will be routed, it will, if depending on what kind of resources we are using, application gateway, public load balancer, or
Mm-hmm.
some traffic manager or Azure CDN, it will land there, and then it will be routed, to the, if it is CDN, definitely the nearest places where the what do you call this? This is hosted. I'm not getting exactly the word. So it will be routed first there, and then using ingress controller, path based, route based, or some URL based. If it is there, it will be
Mm-hmm.
then routed there. And then how we have specified the ingress this rules, and it will be reaching inside, and then it may go into this our internal Kubernetes cluster and then fetch the details. So
Okay.
like that, it will
Very difficult
go.
journey it has gone through. So try to, this is a very common question. So try to understand this a little bit more, and
Mhm.
maybe like how the entire DNS resolution happens and what happens when you type netflix.com in your browsers. A lot of questions and a lot of these scenarios are possible.
Mhm.
But at the same time, can you now explain me like this is your one deployment. You want your users to in US to go to a different deployment and your users in Australia to go to a different deployment. How do you manage that scenario?
Yeah, so there is one resource called Traffic Manager, and another one is Azure Front Door or CDN, you could say. So if
Mm-hmm.
it is static, some static contents are there. We can use caching system of the Azure CDN
Right.
to store it into the nearest location of our users
Mm-hmm.
using Azure CDN or Azure Front Door, and using traffic management as well based on, because in when we use traffic manager there are 4 to 5 various departments like meters metrics used based on which we can apply it, and uh, it will work according to that. It can be traffic based, like some percentage of traffic should go on this deployment and some percentage should go there, and also geographical based as well. Like if the request is coming from this particular location, send it to this one. So using that, we can make it available for our users, like overall in the overall flow.
All right, awesome. I think that's quite a good. Some of the answers are excellent. Some of the answers are
So
mixed up, but yeah, you are getting there. It's not that it was one of the like not a very bad sort of interview. Obviously, this will not help you crack into some really nice roles, and uh, most of the questions I asked were
I'm still trying, sir. I'm still trying.
it's internal thing, internal client.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What kind of client is it? Is it what kind of customer? Like, is it banking?
It's IT solution actually. Like they provide IT services and AI and ML.
Then I think you are good. You can with after some more practice you can apply for
Certainly.
this. Yeah, but if you have to get into a banking, financial, or some product based company, then because
Mm-hmm.
IT services are usually slightly flexible, so if, whatever knowledge you bring, they will be able to use it somehow.
Yeah,
But product based companies will be very
I'm
focused.
improving. Yes, sir. I'm improving. Like I'm looking at the market. It's also what are all new things that companies is looking for, and
Right.
according to that, I have to upgrade myself.
Yes.
So I'm just trying into that sense as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. No worries. I think this is good. Some of the feedback I have already given you as we during the interview itself. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have any questions
All the
before we
possible.
wind up?
Uh, my questions are usually related to this Kubernetes. I find it little challenging because
So,
since I have worked in this just the demo projects in Minikube and some sample AKS
okay.
cluster.
So
So
that's one first thing you mentioned, Minikube. Companies will not be using Minikube, so their questions will
exactly.
not be Minikube related. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest you build a proper AKS cluster yourself.
Yeah, that one also I did, sir.
Yeah,
And KubeADM I tried, but I couldn't. Like it was a lengthy process to install it and another thing, so
yeah,
I had to skip it for a while. That's why I used Minikube.
yeah. Try to do it on the real cluster, deploy it over there, read some of the case studies, and look at GitOps based deployments. So look at
Hmm.
those all the best practices you mentioned about secret management, how you do that. So look at those good practices, how those will be done in Kubernetes area. I think you can catch up.
Certainly, sir. All right, sir.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes. Thank you so much. Bye.